heaven. He said the Milky Way was composed of billions upon billions of individual stars. Made numerous discoveries, and he also discovered sunspots. This issue of sunspots may become really, really important in the next few years or so. There was an attempt made at one point to try to say that sunspots influenced our weather. Then they said, no, nothing to it. But then we got better telescopes, better weather devices and computers. And we're now thinking that sunspots do in fact influence our weather, which explains why most of you are wearing heavy coats right now, and explains why most of the schools a few miles north of us, well, in the Midwest and Northeast, are closed down. I mean, I have a sister who lives in Ohio, and they have had constant snow and cold since November, which is unheard of. I mean, hardly a break. Just constant. And guess what? They're going to have more. And some people say it's caused by sunspots, first observed by Galileo. Now, like Copernicus, Galileo got in trouble with the church, but I want to state here in the church's defense, some people have done some more research by going back to the original sources. In other words, what they wrote at the time. And the church has also released some of its documents, and they have decided a lot of the problem was not so much that they disagreed with Galileo's science. Galileo had a personality problem. He was obstinate, sharp-tongued, among other things. And this did him more harm. And basically, his method of presentation, he came across as being high-handed and arrogant, and this hurt him more so than what he believed. But the telescope more or less proved conclusively that the Earth is not the center of the universe, that the Earth, in fact, does go around the sun, and proved that our moon was not the only moon in the solar system, that Jupiter had moons, and then later we found that there were moons around Mars, moons around Saturn, moons around Uranus, moons around Neptune, and moons around Pluto. And some of these outer planets we're starting to discover, we're finding moons around them. We're even finding out some of the asteroids have moons. Ida and Dactyl comes to my mind. Ida is the big one, and Dactyl the small one. Even the asteroids have moons. Galileo, now, I want to state this about the conflict between science and the church. About this time a year ago, one of my students stopped me after class, and we had about a 30-minute chat. And he said he was really upset at Christianity because Christianity had stepped up and opposed science. And I said, well, that is true, but if you want to be upset at something, be upset at the other religions. I said Christianity merely stepped in the way and hindered science, but scientific progress marched on. But look at Chinese history, and their philosophers didn't just hinder, their philosophers completely stopped science. And the same thing can be said of all other parts of the world except for Europe. Their religion, their philosophy stopped scientific advancement completely dead and cold. Christianity merely hindered the progress, but did not stop it. If any of you want to comment, your comments are welcome.
I would say.
Yes?
I would say Islam.
Huh?
Islam, evaluates sense.
My view on why Islam was once far ahead of Europeans, but I mean that.
Quran, it's always read. The first word in the Quran is read. Read.
Oh.
Read.
Read.
Iqra, read. Read. The first
Oh,
word. Read. R-E-A-D.
Oh, read. Okay, read. Yeah.
Read. Think. Contemplate.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
You know, for this Quran is for whom who think, for whom who in the world. You know, we are as Muslims. We are recommended by Allah, by God, to think, not to take things like, you know, and many things now. They discovered that Quran, many scientific, many scientific research. They are doing that now. It's mentioned in Quran. It has been mentioned in Quran. So I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
that's my, that's what I was saying. What do you think?
You want
We
me,
can-
you
we can-
want to,
we
yeah.
can discuss
My own
this
personal
later.
take on it, though,
Maybe
is
we
that
can
somewhere
discuss
along the
this
way,
later,
I mean, it's like in our Constitution, it's what our Constitution says and what we wind up doing, and every group has its
Islam
problem.
has never prohibited people to think or to do researches or to go to, I came from Syria to, and Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, ask for education even in China. They were in Saudi Arabia, go to China and ask for education.
Yeah.
That's what he
But
taught
there's
us.
got to be somehow, though, it was not them who invented the airplane, the automobile, the computer, the light bulb. It was not them.
You can.
And again,
Never they never.
again, the subject as to why, that's a whole separate topic in itself. But
Other,
again, I'm glad to hear you say that.
very, Islam encourages all.
I mean, initially, Islam was far ahead of Europe in medicine, in astronomy, in all of science. Initially, they were far ahead, and then they fell by the wayside.
If you go back to Muslims, scientists.
Oh,
how
I mean, I had a pro-Arab teacher at UT, and he was very much talking about how they put the Europeans to shame. Their medicine was far ahead.
Yes.
Their science, their navigation, they were far ahead. But at some point, they got to a certain point, and they stopped growing. Oh yeah, this is well documented. Now,
but not the religion. It's not the
Okay.
religion was the problem. It's not the religion.
Okay, it's not. All right, I hear you. All right. Anyway, now, while I'm talking on the subject of what is the center of the universe, I want to ask a question you should have learned in junior high school. When does a matter of scientific inquiry ever become a case closed? In other words, where you decide this is well known, we know it, it's final, no more discussion on the subject. When does a matter of science ever become case closed?
Never.
Outstanding, folks. Those of you who said
All
never,
theory.
congratulations. It's all theory and never closed. All right, what is the center of the universe? Guess what, folks? The ancients said the earth was the center of the universe. Copernicus supposedly disproved it. But we get more and more knowledge, and oftentimes we start off going this way, we get more knowledge and turn around and go this way, and then get more knowledge still and turn around and go the direction we started. We look at the universe, and everywhere we look, the universe seems to be expanding away from a common center. And anybody want to guess what is the center?
The center is where the Big Bang originated, and from there.
Wherever it originated at the start of the Big
We
Bang.
started the Big Bang, and ever since
Okay.
then, the universe
Now,
expanded.
you're right. And where does that center appear to be?
We're on the outskirts of that.
It appears to me, from everywhere we look, the expansion is, the expansion seems to be the same everywhere we look, which indicates to me, and to other persons too, the Earth itself, or at least the Milky Way galaxy, is the center.
That's what you think?
I strongly suspect it, yes.
I believe that's completely untrue because the expansion of the universe in every direction is going at a different rate. And from physical evidence,
Okay.
it's nowhere near where we are. It's in a cluster of galaxies that are actually a lot, like billion of light years away from us, where the background radiation originated from the Big Bang.
Which I
It
agree
depends
on.
on who you read, when you read, and what you have read. I mean, I understand what
Which
you're
I agree
saying.
with them also because not that long ago I just saw a documentary on about the Big Bang and the universe, and they said that our Milky Way galaxy is we're like on the outskirts a little bit, and we're away from where the Big Bang originated in the center.
That's something on what we've seen so far as well.
Again, yeah, it depends on when, the problem with finding out where we are in the universe, folks, is actually beyond the means of our observations right now and the means of our computers. It actually is beyond, and again, they're talking about the, all right, there's a phenomenon called the redshift, and I don't know if I have to focus pretty quickly, which indicates some of the distant stars seem to be moving away from us at a fast speed, but now they're saying that even some of the near stars are moving away from it, and some of the distant stars moving toward us. The fact is, what we were taught as being neatly all figured out is now coming to be, it's all the jumble, jumbo jumble. And all right, I wanted to get to Newton.